Hi friends, we have been discussing about self-management in situations of uncertainty, fear, anxiety, etc. Now in this episode we are going to discuss about the third most important aspect called self-management. Okay. Broadly, when we talk about self-management, we talk about quite a few things like self-control, transparency, adaptability, achievement drive, and initiative. Right? So let me just share with you a story. Once there was a great Maharshi, a saint, sitting and then giving a discourse to his disciples and then a lot of villagers. The king of the land had a lot of respect for saints, so he comes down and then he comes and then sits there. And then he gets up and then wants to ask a question of the saint, and then he asks this question: "Oh, Venerable One, can you tell me what is heaven and what is hell?" The saint looks at him and then he changes the expression on his face. He looks at some of his disciples and says, "Get this idiot out of my way." That's what he says. The king immediately flies into rage. Nobody speaks to him like that. He immediately removes his sword and is about to strike the saint. And the saint comes down, smilingly looks at the king and says, "Oh king, I'm really sorry. I didn't really mean it that way. Can you please be seated? You are the ruler of the land." The king now feels more peaceful, and then he too smiles and then sits down. And now the Maharshi explains. He says, "O king, when I initially uttered those words and then I seem to have insulted you, you felt very belittled, and then immediately you grew into fury. That state you were in at that time is hell, because you are unable to really help yourself. You are so uncomfortable that you are pushed into an action which you would probably even repent and regret later. And when I respected you back, when I asked you to take your seat, etc., you again became peaceful, and this is called heaven." So where are heaven and hell? They are in our mind, they are in ourselves. Once we remember this, we know that words that are used by people or situations that come and then try to overpower us, they are not by themselves the cause or reason for our happiness, which we call heaven, or our sadness or sorrow, which we call hell. Heaven and hell are made by us, is what this story tells. So let us come quickly to the three actions that will help us to create our own heaven when we want it, and avoid the hell that we don't want it. Okay, the first thing is called adaptability. You would all recall that I had been giving you techniques that always are ABC, the ABC of life. That way, A stands for adaptability here. What is adaptability? Your ability to adjust to situations and then look at them for what they are. Understanding that it's not the situation that's going to overpower you, it's your choice about the situation that actually overpowers you. The second one, B, stands for be true to yourself. What I mean is that once you have decided to take up a certain path, and you be true to yourself, look at yourself and then not get carried away by what is being suggested by the situation. Example, in this story I told you, the king understood that he had taken so much of pain to give respects to this Maharshi. When the Maharshi said, "Remove this idiot," he need not have come to such a quick judgment that he needs to punish the Maharshi. He could have given a little benefit of doubt and then said, "Oh, why is he saying this?" So when he uses his discretion and then is more true to himself, understanding his objective with which he has come, is going to be a little more calm. And the third one, C, stands for control of the self. Once you are able to be true to yourself by observing yourself, you can then hope to control and regulate in terms of the anger or emotion that comes up. So let's remember, friends, the ABC of this particular technique called self-management is always be adaptable to the situation. Be true to yourself in terms of observing yourself clearly and knowing what is that you want to do in this situation. And most importantly, control yourself when it is required. And then, even if sometimes you feel like saying something, give a little gap between your wanting to say, etc., and then everything shall be fine as we go by. Okay? Now, with this, I want to say that as we go by in these tough situations, it's very important for each one of us to wear a mask when we interact with people, sanitize ourselves continuously, maintain the social distance, and most importantly, please remember that you need to be positive, and then if possible, send positivity and then convey positivity to others. That's the way to be in this situation. Thank you for listening to me. I shall meet you up in the next episode again.